what are my goals? Where did I get the idea that that was important? What am I hoping to gain by achieving this? And even, who am I wanting to become through achieving that goal? Hi dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to the Confident Dancer YouTube channel. Today I want to address one of those difficult parts of being a dancer, being a dreamer, having ambitions that are really big, which is answering that question of, what if my dreams don't come true? What if I don't feel like I'm actually ever going to be the dancer I want to be? What if I don't meet my goals? And I feel like this is especially relevant during this time of year where a lot of us are auditioning or just kind of thinking about the next year. Am I going to get into that year-round program? Am I going to be good enough to get into this university or this company? What do we do when we aren't sure that we'll meet our goals, or we already haven't, and we're kind of just in the aftermath of that? And this video is for you, even if you're meeting all of your goals. I mean, kudos to you if you are and you still clicked on this video. I think it is just such an important thing to talk about, especially in our society where we value the flashy things in meeting our goals and working hard and dreaming big and reaching for more and personal development. But who is making space for appropriately processing disappointment or questioning your goals in the first place, your dreams in the first place? I want to make a little space for that today because personally, you guys, I want to tell you, I've so been there. As a lot of you know, if you've watched my YouTube channel for years, you know that I've had times where my dreams did feel like they were coming true, and they did. I got to dance professionally for a time, lifelong dream. I got to travel abroad to dance, lifelong dream. Still, dreams come true to this day. I want to speak internationally. I got to do that twice. Totally out of a surprise. It was totally a surprise. I got to do that twice this last year. So yeah, dreams come true, and I've experienced it too, and I really hope all of you have as well. But there have been times where, for me, I had bigger dreams of, okay, well, I want to have a consistent quarter ballet contract. I want to have a career into my 30s in dance. I want to perform these lead roles, like I had dream roles. And I didn't do that. And I don't really plan on going back and trying to do that because of a knee injury. And I had to grapple with, how do I process that? Is my lesson now that it's just not okay to dream big, that I'm not the person I thought I was, that I'm actually secretly incompetent? If you have struggled with that too, even in the wake of hearing no and getting kind of a rejection letter, I don't like the term rejection, but sure, getting a rejection letter to the program, the summer program you've always dreamed of going to and you thought you were a great fit, and you hear no, what do? So I know this is kind of a long preamble to this video, but I just wanted to share a bit of my story too, and to say that as a coach, I've worked with so many dancers who, in the process of working together to develop confidence and really develop a mindset that helps them perform their best, I've seen dancers in the scope of us working together achieve great heights, audition for companies, get results, or get parts that they never thought they would get, perform better than they thought, and then something happens like an injury. Or they develop a healthy mindset, but their dreams don't come true. And we do the work together of reassessing, okay, what do we do with that? Is this the time to change our approach or change the goal? So I want to say, if you're in that place and you're struggling and you're really discouraged, you're not alone. This is a very normal part of the human experience. And today I want to give you just a few tips on how to start dealing with that. So the first thing I want to talk about is, a lot of us watching this channel, not all of you, I know not all of you, we desire to be professional ballet dancers. That is such an idolized goal in ballet culture. Even if it's for you not to become a professional dancer, but rather to dance soloist roles, or it's probably more technique related, I want to have this level of technique and look in the mirror and like what I see, but now I haven't, or I'm getting all these rejection letters, or I'm consistently looking in the mirror and not liking what I see. Whatever it is, if you're starting to have experiences that are making you doubt, can I actually do this? Maybe not. I want to talk about how in ballet culture, since one of the strengths is that we're kind of conditioned to buy into this belief that we can dream big and we can reach and we can perfect ourselves. And we know logically that you're not supposed to say you can be perfect because it's not true. But we do hold ourselves to very, very high standards, and we do set really big goals, which is great. However, one thing that not only ballet culture, but culture in general, Western culture especially, does very poorly is guiding people through the nuanced process of questioning your goals appropriately. There is a difference between questioning your goals in a way that limits you and discourages you inappropriately, unresourcefully, and questioning your goals to see if there could be a more appropriate objective to set your eyes on. There is a difference. What is that difference? Okay, so as you look at your goals, I think we should always be asking ourselves, and this is the more resourceful, appropriate side of questioning, what is important to me about that goal? Where did I get the idea that that is what I want? Was it a one-off emotional experience where you're like, I like this, it feels good. You watch as a young dancer, these professional dancers come and be guest artists for your Nutcracker, and you're like, their life seems glamorous. You know, they're so beautiful. Anyone who's that beautiful would be happy. I want to be happy like them. You know, that might be a very unconscious thought process, but where did your sense of this goal, where did that come from? Where was that modeled for you? Where did you pick it up? Because one thing that I want to say is this doesn't mean that even if you did say, I want to be a professional dancer, just because you had a couple of experiences that gave you a little glimpse and a picture of what your life could be, and you're like, yes, that is my life. That was me too. I think, especially if you decided when you were young that you want to be a professional dancer, like I know that for me, I made that decision for my whole life at that point and committed and sacrificed so much to pursue it based off a very limited experience. I never sat in on the daily life of a professional dancer. I never actually seen a huge professional company perform in person at that point. I was literally going off of Point Magazine and YouTube videos, and I decided this is my life. And, you know, seeing guest artists, I was like, yep, that's what I want to do. I love to dance, so let's go. Now, okay, is that bad? No, not necessarily. However, where we have an opportunity to grow is to just take a moment to introspect and realize, all right, that's okay if that was my best idea at the time, but let's go a layer deeper. It's not necessarily that that goal is your only way to happiness and that is just the epitome of success in objective reality. Like, this is what's good and I should want it. It's the pinnacle of the expression of dance and that's what I should go for. Should? You know, says who? So I want to encourage you to be asking yourself the question, what are my goals? Where did I get the idea that that was important? What am I hoping to gain by achieving this? And even, who am I wanting to become through achieving that goal? Are you wanting to prove to yourself that you're worthy? Are you wanting to prove to yourself that you can trust yourself? Like, what is that for you? Maybe it's something that's functional. Maybe it's something that's not really working for you. That's okay. It's just important to acknowledge that we're always making decisions based off of an incomplete amount of information. And that's just how life works. If we always waited for it to be complete and we assessed every little aspect of every decision we made, we would have total analysis paralysis and we wouldn't go anywhere. So it's totally okay. I just want to normalize that it's good to question why this specific thing, why this specific level of technique, why this part. And then recognize, yeah, maybe you really wanted to get into that summer program and you know all the reasons why it would be the best thing ever for you. Well, realize that behind every goal we have, we're often really just motivated by the feeling that we think we'll get by achieving it. And I want you to ask yourself, what are some of the other multitude of ways that I could get that same feeling or fulfillment? And just start to brainstorm. It doesn't mean you have to go for the other ideas, but just start to brainstorm it. Just to start to prove to your own mind, like, that's not the only pathway to happiness. Hey dancers, I hope you're enjoying this video so far. I wanted to just briefly speak to you about a coaching program that I've developed called the Career Clarity Intensive. I also have, as you might know, the Confident Dancer Coaching Program, which is a 4-month program designed to help you establish well-being and also a mindset that helps you to perform your best with total confidence. But this program, the Career Clarity Intensive, is really for you dancers who are at this crossroads in your journey through the dance world of like wondering, I feel super burnt out, or I've lost my love for ballet, or I'm just really not doing well and I'm starting to question, is this path for me? Or, is this school for me? Should I transfer? If you're like contemplating a career pivot or a pivot in your training approach and you feel stuck, you're scared of making a decision that you'll regret. You don't know what's right for you. You aren't sure if you're making a decision from a good place. I want you to know that as a high performance coach and a former professional myself, I specialize in helping dancers identify their next career moves that will be best for them, make a regret-free decision that they're excited to walk into, and define the next steps so you know where you're going next. You feel ready to take it on, and I help you through that transition of either deciding you want to move schools, move companies, or move on from dance. Okay, how do you transition well? Or some clients I've worked with also decide, you know what, I think it's best for me to stay where I'm at, and I just needed to change my mindset and my approach to be happier there. I'm there to support you, whatever your decision is, after I help you to come to it. So I want you to know that this support is available. If you're interested in learning more and applying for the Career Clarity Intensive, simply visit kirstenkip.com. It's linked below, and you can find more and apply there. All right, let's get on with the video. I know that for me, when I didn't get into SAB at 15 after auditioning once, I was heartbroken because my best friend at the time got in and she was like a favorite there or whatever, and I was heartbroken. I would cry and I would think, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna, I will never be a professional dancer. And then I didn't get into PNB, and that was my other dream school. And I was so sad. And yeah, I look back on it now and I still think like, yeah, it would have been cool to go. However, I want to encourage you guys to start to look at every experience, whether it's like a success in your eyes or a failure. Don't see it as immediate proof that you will or won't achieve your future goal. First, just take it as feedback. Feedback that is an opportunity for you to learn something and grow personally. Feedback like that audition that, I did for SAB and I didn't get in. I treated it as proof that I would never get in. So I did never audition again because it was like proof I'm not good enough for it. If at 15 years old I took it as feedback for my improvement, I would think, okay, what can I learn from that? As I look back on my performance in that audition and some of the other girls that were there, what can I learn from that and how can I apply it to my training? And then try again. And then if I don't get in again, that's okay. If I assess that, hey, maybe there's a better way to spend my energy or another place that would be a better fit for me right now, that's okay. But see, taking these things as feedback rather than definitive proof about your future is a really healthy way to respond when you're facing disappointment. The other thing is also questioning, again, back to the idea of recognizing the dreams and goals that we set for ourselves are just decisions made off of limited information. So I do want to encourage you to adopt a bigger belief of not only is every event an opportunity for you to learn and grow, I believe in the greater sense, everything that happens to us is also for our growth and for us to eventually realize more and more the authentic path that we're made to step into. Like personally, I believe there's a purpose to life. I believe in the meaning of life, and everyone has different worldviews and that's okay. But I do believe generally it's very helpful to have faith in a greater sense that we tend to, as humans, be like, this flashy goal seems like a great thing that I really want. It's okay for you to want that, but then also be open to recognizing that we reach for the highest branch we see. We only also just make choices based off of what we know through our experience. So if you've never had the opportunity to recognize how fulfilling it could be for you to, I don't know, be a choreographer or work in finance or be a therapist, whatever, if you've never had the exposure to that, how could you ever know to want it? So that's one danger of being a dancer and living in this very insular world where in order to advance, you kind of have to wrap yourself up in it so tightly. But I don't believe you necessarily have to the point where you put total blinders on and you're not connected to the outside world. I do want to encourage you that, especially in times of disappointment, start to explore what are some other aspects of life that have been totally untouched to me. Different experiences, different industries, different jobs, different programs, whatever it is. Start to look for what you've never found before. Be exploratory and curious. I mean, I'm currently doing work that I literally never knew existed until months before I decided to go on this path. Not even months, weeks, days. I stumbled upon it, and I made a decision based off of very incomplete information, and I kind of held the idea loosely, like, let's just see where this goes. Now, going back to the original idea I shared of like the unhelpful version of questioning your goals. It goes back to that idea of first, are you looking at success or failure as definitive proof of your future? That is, looking at a little part of the bigger picture. It doesn't necessarily mean it's proof of how your life will go and what you're able to achieve forever and always. So a helpful way to question is, instead of being like, it's proof, it's just feedback. So that's a differentiator there. The other thing is, if you start to really personalize your results as this failure means that I, as a person, am incompetent. I am not the kind of person who can dream big. I'm not the kind of person who can trust myself or handle challenges or take big leaps. When we start to limit our view of what we're capable of as humans in a way that, instead of being like, I think objectively pottery currently isn't something I'm great at. Maybe I could progress in it, but the amount of work it would take to progress in the realm of becoming a master potter isn't really worth it for me to take that. That's just being self-honest. Like, currently here's where my skill is at. Maybe I can make it that much better. How worth it to me is that? That's a little different than being like, trying one pottery class. I suck at pottery. I could never do that. That's not necessarily true. Recognize that at any point we're taking a snapshot of our current abilities, and it's important not to project that too much onto our future and onto our sense of potential as humans. You do have incredible potential to learn. Neuroplasticity is a thing, to grow, to heal, to resolve things. You have so much potential inside of you. The question is always, how do you want to use it? Instead of just judging, I am or I'm not. I always will or I won't be. The other thing I want to touch on is the idea of comparison. A lot of times when we don't meet our own dreams and goals, and we start to question if we're on the right path or we are capable of the things that we wanted to be capable of, comparison really tends to come into that. We tend to look around and be like, she's on a better path. If only I was like her, then I would be happier. Then life would be easier. Why me? Why do I struggle? What's uniquely wrong with me? That's really normal. I've done it too. I've done it. I do it even, now. I know I'm like a coach and maybe I'm supposed to have it all figured out. I don't believe that. There are times where I'm like, man, that business owner, her business flew off the ground in a year, and it's taken 3 years or 2 years for me to start to get kind of the traction I want. It's easy for me to be like, what's wrong with me? I think we all fall into ways of thinking like that sometimes, but noticing it and stepping out of it is something you're capable of, and I want to invite you into it. I just want to encourage you to remove the labels of better or worse, good or bad in terms of a life path. Each of us, I really believe, have our own path. We have our own gifts, and we have our own spaces where we can really share those gifts and experience the fulfillment of having our gifts when we share them touch the spaces around us and create positive change. I think all of us as humans just inherently want to know that our existence is meaningful, that our existence matters, that we can make a difference. I think we all have this drive to want to know that. And so when we just get really close-minded about like, this is the way, that path is better. What would be best is if I were this kind of professional dancer. Not necessarily. So I want to just say that I've seen so many dancers who fail. They don't have the professional career they worked so hard for, and they are currently very happy. I might know one of them. I've also known dancers that have succeeded in the ways that everyone seems to look at them and be like, what is that like? That must be amazing. They're actually not very happy. Now, there are reverses of that can also be true, but there's just no one way to live. There's no one definition of good for life paths. So even open yourself up to asking, how many different ways can I express the core value that motivates my passion for dance? If it's, I really love expression, I love artistry, I love sharing joy. Great, how many different ways can you express that in this world? And start to brainstorm. That's one thing that really got me through some hard times when I started to be honest with myself about like, hey, my injury isn't recovering the way I wanted, no matter how hard I'm trying to make it work. I think I'm losing dance. I think I'm gonna have to lose my professional career that I've worked like most of my life for. That was obviously hard, and there was a grieving process that went along with that. But when I was ready to face it, I started to be like, this could apply to a summer program, a certain level of technique you want to have, or a professional career, whatever it is for you that you really want. You can start to ask yourself, again, like I said, what are the, like at the most basic level, the things that are most important to me about pursuing this thing? Is it that what I want to gain is the sense of community or the feeling of achievement? Those are personal values, and it's so important to know your personal values behind each thing that you're pursuing, especially if it's a significant part of your life, so that you could say, okay, what's important to me? Like, getting a professional contract isn't the only way to fulfill those values. I can also do it this, this, and this, and this way, because at the core, it's not a professional career in ballet that fulfills me necessarily. It's that I am plugged in with a community that I love being a part of, with like-minded people. I love the feeling of accomplishment and like having goals and working hard towards them and having a payoff of like a performance where I get to experience the fruit of my labor. And then also joy. I love the feeling of joy. These are my personal values I'm sharing with you. I love the feeling of joy, and I love learning. So if those four things are things that I can fulfill, which I can a bunch of different ways, why not look into those different ways and start to build a life around that? And you know, when you do start to know and fulfill your personal values, it's amazing how much you'll be able to let go of the just desperate attachment to specific goals, and you'll be able to be open to where life is guiding you, and you'll find a more purposeful path. And hey, sometimes you still get to achieve the dreams that you've been shooting for, but even doing that personal development I just talked about can help you to be a lot more trusting, calm, confident, and well and joyful in the process of getting there. All right, dancers, I know this video is a lot more free-flowing, and I really hope that these thoughts encouraged you where you're at. I hope that there's something that really resonated with you in this video, and no matter if you feel like you're on the top of a mountain or in a valley right now, in terms of achieving your goals, I'm sending you a big hug, and I want you to know I'm proud of you for shooting for big things. I'm proud of you for wanting to grow. I know that you are growing, whether you feel like you are or not. There's always a lesson for you that once you realize it and start walking it out, that next step of the next thing you can do, the next thing, steps become clear one step at a time, oftentimes, especially when you're in a hard place. So just keep taking those steps. I know you're already taking them if you watch this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.